Hero Complex by Tygermine, read by LMX Mabella. Chapter 4. Please brush your teeth after licking your balls. Malfoy, she whispered, convinced she was losing her mind. The cat meowed and nodded, gently pawing at her hand. Hermione reared back, landing on her butt. The cat tentatively slunk closer, placing a paw on her knee. So you're not dead, you're just a cat now? The cat meowed. Hermione rolled her eyes and got to her feet. No way. I'm just hallucinating from the stress. You, she pointed at the cat, are not Draco Malfoy. You're just some street cat that... She began to stutter. The cat started showing up around the same time Malfoy disappeared. That's impossible. Was it? The cat stayed at her feet, using its paws to push at the broken shards of glass in the photo frame. It kept looking from the photo to her and meowing, each utterance seemingly more urgent than the last. Draco, the cat meowed, stepping into her space and standing up on its hind legs, front paws grabbing at her jeans, its eyes staring at her. Oh, fuck me! Hermione ran to the kitchen and grabbed her wand. Revelio! A ghost spectre rose from within the cat, and it resembled a very pissed-off Malfoy. Fix this, mouthed the spectre, before retreating back into the cat's body. Finita incantatem, Hermione commanded. Nothing happened. Her hands went to her hips, and she stared at the cat. Only you could be turned into a cat with a spell that can't instantly reverse, Malfoy meowed. Yes, well, I'll figure it out. I have to do some research. Just don't lick yourself where I can see you. The cat gave her a look that she was used to seeing from Draco's face. Disdain mixed with revolt, and some embarrassment. Don't even try to lie and tell me you didn't enjoy being able to lick your bollocks. Then she remembered the last words she had shouted at him as she was throwing his clothes out the bedroom window. It had been to, succinctly, go fuck himself. Seems now I could, in a way. She flu-called Harry. It's late, so someone had better be dead, he grumbled through the flames. I found Malfoy. I'll send the Aurors to collect the body in the morning. There is no body to collect, he's alive. Oh, brilliant. This can wait until morning. Well, he's been turned into a cat. Harry needed a few minutes to get himself together after laughing his ass off. A cat? Are you serious? Hermione picked up Malfoy from where he had settled onto the couch and held him up to Harry. It looks like any other cat to me, but if you say it's Malfoy, I'll take your word for it. But now that you mention it, he does have that look about him. The cat twisted itself out of Hermione's arms and dropped to the floor. Boredom with a side of disdain? Exactly. Harry, I don't think other curse breakers will help and word will get around he's still alive. It could end badly. I'll just keep looking for cure. Oh, by the way, heard any rumors coming from Arthur's department? He seemed a bit on edge when he spoke to Charlie earlier. Miney, it's late. I'm too tired to talk office gossip with you right now. How about I come over to you for coffee tomorrow, before work? Hermione nodded and ended the call. When she turned around, Malfoy was back on the sofa, hind leg in the air and mouth poised above his bits. Ew! Groaned Hermione and went to bed. Malfoy lowered his leg and sighed. Harry was used to waking up into all sorts of situations when it came to Hermione, so it really shouldn't have surprised him to arrive through the flu the following morning, carrying 2 extra-large coffees, to find a living room covered in open books, her hair in a state, and the cat looking ready to scratch someone's face off. The cat that was evidently Malfoy. Morning! Harry leaned over to give Hermione a peck on the cheek and placed one of the cups of coffee on the table next to her. He then sank into the wingback chair to her left. Hermione barely acknowledged him. Malfoy slunk towards Harry and stood on his hind legs, front paws resting on Harry's knees. He let out a growling mew and shook his head, banging the cone still around his neck. I guess if you are really Malfoy, I can take this off. And you'll know not to lick your stitches? The cat harumphed and shook his head again. Harry carefully removed it. Nothing! And had she been less worried about her books, she would have lopped it across the room. I've gone through all the counter curses I could. Latin, Greek, Sanskrit, even Welsh. Nothing has worked. She pointed a finger at the cat. Only you would get cursed in a language that doesn't exist. Harry couldn't help the bubble of laughter that pushed its way out of his chest. Oh, Merlin, all of the things I considered, Malfoy being turned into a cat was not one of them. The cat meowed, and Harry burst out laughing. Every time he thought he got control of it, he glanced at the cat and started laughing again. No, Harry, it's not funny. Hermione caught the giggles and was soon leaning against Harry, laughing hysterically. The cat was not amused, and decided to avoid the laughing hyenas by taking a spot on the kitchen table and examining Hermione's motherboard. It took a good while for the two to calm down enough to just little hiccups. Well, that's the good news of the day. Malfoy's alive. Harry sipped his cooling coffee. Hermione shot a glare at the cat. For now, what did you hear about the Muggle affair situation? Bingley is pushing them the same way as the Magical Creatures team. Claims we shouldn't be wasting money on a department that doesn't do anything anyway. I mean, she phrased it more politically, but that was the gist of her press release. Obviously, it didn't have a name on it, but it came from her concerned group within the Ministry. Oh dear. Problem is, unlike your old team, Muggle Affairs is headed by Cillian Avon, and from what the grapevine says, Cillian went into a meeting to save the department and left singing praises about the change. He rolled over like a dog and got his stomach patted. That sounds like blackmail or payoff. I'd go with blackmail. Avon is living off a healthy inheritance from his Muggle grandfather. Hermione sank back onto the sofa in a slouch, her head resting on the back edge, looking up at the ceiling. But why? That's what I keep coming back to. Motive. The saving money spiel doesn't ring true, you know. Nothing in her education suggests that she had any interest in economics. So why is she really doing all this? Puritanical ideology? Oh, 10 points to Gryffindor for use of big words, Hermione teased. Here's 2 small words then. Sod off. Besides, I think she's Muggle-born anyway, so I don't think it fits. The cat meowed from the table, causing Hermione to sigh. I have a feeling if I can get him turned back, he'll have the key to all this. I feel there's a but at the end of that. Hermione smiled widely. But karma is a bitch. When Hermione ran out of languages, she tried potions. Malfoy was no longer a white cat per se, but instead had multicolored splotches all over his fur, as if a prism was reflecting off his body. Malfoy had gone through the stages of being cursed: denial, anger, hunger, irritation, and was now heading towards resignation and acceptance. Hermione was starting to slowly lose her patience. She began entertaining ideas of dragging Bingley from her office by a perfectly tied bun and forcing her to turn Malfoy back. I should just leave you as a cat. You'll be less trouble that way, she muttered, feeding him some pieces of ham as she made herself a sandwich. Malfoy nudged his nose against her cheek softly, where he sat on the counter. Don't try to butter me up. That's a long overdue apology, which means nothing. Malfoy nudged her again. Hermione felt her eyes prick with tears and abandoned her sandwich as she fled to her bedroom. Malfoy hadn't just broken her heart. He had ripped it out of her chest, dropped it on the ground, and danced on it until it had been nothing but a smear on the road. Metaphorically speaking, of course. All she wanted was the two of them to be happy together, but no. Malfoy had decided he needed to be a hero in order for her to really love him, which was stupid. Hermione didn't want to be in love with a hero. They had short lifespans, and if she was being completely honest with herself, she wanted Malfoy in her life for as long as she could have him. She couldn't support his suicidal quest to prove himself worthy of her and to the world at large. Hermione fell asleep with tears in her eyes and hollowness in her stomach. Hermione woke up from a dead sleep and was stumbling to the living room before her eyes had fully opened. Bunty! How the heck could I have forgotten Bunty? She lurched to the sofa, looking around for him. Malfoy, where are you? I think I've got it. Malfoy slunk in from the guest room. Of course you'd make yourself comfy in a guest room. She rolled her eyes. I think I have it, and I'm embarrassed I forgot about it. Bantu, African languages. That's why you pointed out that article. Thing is, there are 12 languages, so I need to try 12 incantations. You up for it? Malfoy nodded. Right, let's see where I did put the book. Ah, here it is. She paged through the tome of African mythology and stopped on a page. Right, Swahili, because that's the most common one. Acha Uyanga Hu. Malfoy meowed. Fuck, okay, let's try. She turned a few more pages in the book. Xuza? Oh dear, the clicks might be difficult. Did you hear any clicks when they cast you? Malfoy merrily huffed. I guess not. More pages were turned and scanned. Shona. Kumisa Ichvi, Svisiana, Musoro. No human. Malfoy sprang forth. Hey, for... Hermione paged through the book frantically. All right, third time must be the charm, right? Tibela Sena Sesa Utlua Haleng. No? This is just embarrassing now. Okay, last one. Aibo. Yakisa Lobulanya. There on the floor sat a very naked Draco Malfoy. How hard is it to figure out it was supposed to be Zulu? He growled as he stood and walked into a bedroom. I showed you the article that said she was stationed in South Africa. Zulu is the language of magic there, just like we use Latin for ours. Come on, Granger. You're getting rusty in your old age. He returned wearing an old t-shirt and a pair of pajama pants he'd left behind. Hermione promptly smacked him across the face before wrapping her arms around him in a hug. Nothing rusty about your right hook, he muttered as he pulled her tighter against his chest and kissed the top of her head. Thank you. I want to strangle you. Her voice was muffled. Let's string up Bangley, and then I'll let you kill me, okay? He felt her nod against his chest, and he should have stepped away, but by Morgana, he missed having her in his arms. Tomorrow? Tomorrow, she replied. Thank you for listening to today's chapter of Hero Complex by Tygermine, read by Bella. If you would like to stay up to date on upcoming chapters, you can follow me on YouTube, Spotify, AO3, Instagram, or Tumblr. Thank you all for listening.